Welcome back, and before the break we started our discussion a little bit about the economic benefits to the industry. We talked about feed efficiency, and right now we want to examine a little bit more about what's going on in the industry and certainly why this is relevant to the industry, who's going to benefit from it, and then we'll talk a little bit about the affordability of some of those DNA reports out to the producers. So we were talking briefly about before the show about dairy as well being involved with this. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so at Livestock Gentec, we're at the U of A, we're really focused right now on beef, dairy, and pork, looking at various aspects within those different sectors. Dairy industry is really taking on genomics fast. They're early adopters, and some preliminary data that we've got coming out of the dairy industry is they figure they're saving about $140 million a year in increased efficiencies.
Wow.
In the dairy industry across Canada.
Wow. Just
by using genomics and genomic selecting for the best animals. And of course they're looking at feed efficiency as well. Milk production is huge, of course. And so they're really, and they're also looking at health traits, so keeping their dairy cows healthy. The other things they're looking at is, of course, fertility as well, trying to get high production of milk, but still maintaining your fertility. So those types of areas are looked at within those industries. And the beef industry has a lot of catching up to do, but there are tremendous benefits, not just to cow-calf producers who can benefit from better traits on the ranch, let's say easy calving, for example, or higher weaning weights. We can increase fertility on the ranch as well. All sorts of different areas we can look at. Feed efficiency, of course, cow feed efficiency is huge on the ranch. We've got some data coming out of our herd at Kinsella, which is a U of A research cow herd. One particular cow, she's producing the exact same calf as another, although she's eating 2 tons of feed less per year. This is dry matter, so that's a significant savings for a cow-calf producer if he's got a whole herd of those cows.
Definitely.
And he is going to be able to identify these through genomics.
Now, I had a producer make a comment to me about a year ago when he found out about DNA reports, and he said, you know, this could potentially change the way cattle are bought and sold. Colin, what do you think about that? How does that make any sense?
I think it makes complete sense. Right now, when producers are buying bulls, they're basing their decisions on information that's provided by the breeder.
Or even visual inspection.
Or visual inspection, absolutely. And so you can visually inspect an animal, and if you're looking for a big animal, you can pick the biggest animal. But there are some features within that animal you might not be able to see with the naked eye. And Tom has brought up a few times feed efficiency. You can't tell the difference between 2 animals, whether one's going to eat more or less feed. So what we've done as a research project, one of the big projects at Livestock Gentec, is we have information on 7,000 different animals, and what we've done is measured how much each one of them has eaten over a period of time. And we also measure how fast they grow. And what we've done is genetically tested all of those animals to see if we can identify genetic information that may tell us which ones are the more efficient ones. And we've identified some genetic information which could help us tell within a population of animals which ones are more feed efficient. So now if you're buying that animal, if we can provide that information to the purchaser, and 2 animals both have similar looking traits, the traits you're looking for, size or whatnot, and now if they have additional information such as efficiency information, which you can't see with your naked eye, that would be great to have. And if we can have that information on all the animals sold and bought in Canada, we would be able to select for more efficient animals throughout the country.
Now, the auction marts are a big part of the industry right now.
Absolutely.
And now we're putting in this layer of information. What do you see the future for them? How are they going to interact with that in the future? Or are they going to interact with it in the future?
Well, we hope they do, because this information is coming, and it's going to be very important that auction markets also understand how to use this information to sell cattle for their customers, really. So for example, if a feedlot operator knows that these weaned calves coming in are sired by feed-efficient bulls, but also fast-growing, because days on feed is huge in the feedlot industry. If they can source these animals, they may be prepared to pay a few cents extra per pound. And if that information is either given to them through information systems like the Beef Information Exchange System, through the auction market, then we have a mechanism to pass that genetic information on in the industry. And it's not just going to be auction markets. There's going to have to be a lot of information exchange.
Now, you mentioned the Beef Information Exchange System, and you're not an individual from that organization that's represented here, but you know something about. Can you give our viewers an idea of what's going on with that for people that don't know?
Well, the Beef Information Exchange System is a platform that's being built under the Canadian Cattlemen's Association, and they are trying to get an information flow between the sectors of the beef industry. So one of the opportunities that the dairy industry has is they have a vertically integrated system where you can get information exchange very quickly from the breeding animal right to product. And we have a lot of different sectors in the beef industry, and once we can get that information flow, we can really add value to something like a DNA test, where a rancher does something on the ground, has his production traits identified, he's been selecting the best cattle, but he's also got his cattle will do well with marbling and tenderness, and he can pass that information up the value chain through the Beef Information Exchange System, so that people can start to source and build their cattle herds according to customers' needs.
And when you talk about people sourcing, now we're talking about the packers and the processors that are responding to the consumer.
Exactly.
So now the whole idea, I understand it, is to get that information passed along so that the consumer can make a better decision on what they're buying for an animal. Would that be about right?
Absolutely.
Good. So when we come back, we're going to talk about how the consumer can potentially use some of this information for their buying decisions.